Morning, everyone. The lone voice. This one's probably going to cause a stir with some of you because, well, sometimes truth hurts, as some of you may know. On the screen, you'll see an image from NPR of Mr. Davy Crockett. Another one of the Southern people that probably be knocking statues down. Anyway, still using the 15-minute thing. Better do this quick. The storms, Harvey, Irma, Jake, Jack, whatever they're all calling them, probably being made. They're who knows, maybe God, September 23rd. There's a lot of shit going on, but they want money, a lot of money, charities and whatever. Government, right? Gotta send FEMA in, keep everyone out. Gonna read this to you. This is an alleged story, alleged to Davy Crockett by his secretary or somebody. Anyway, so here it is. I'm quoting from Not Yours to Give. In the early 1800s, Congress was considering a bill to appropriate tax dollars for the widow of his distinguished naval officer. Several beautiful speeches had been made in support of this bill. It seemed that everyone in the House favored it. The Speaker of the House was just about to put the question to a vote when Davy Crockett, the famous frontiersman and then congressman from Tennessee, rose to his feet. Quote, now it's Mr. Crockett speaking. Mr. Speaker, I have as much respect for the memory of the deceased and as much sympathy for the suffering of the living as any man in this House. But we must not permit our respect for the dead or our sympathy for a part of the living to lead us into an act of injustice to the balance of the living. To the balance of living. I will not go into an argument to prove that Congress has no power to appropriate this money as an act of charity. Every member upon this floor knows it. We have the right, as individuals, to give away as much of our own money as we please in charity, but as members of Congress, we have no right to so appropriate a dollar of the public money. So eloquent appeals have been made to us upon the ground that it is a debt due the deceased. Sir, this is no debt. We cannot, without the grossest corruption, appropriate this money as a payment of a debt. We have not the semblance of authority to appropriate it as a charity. I cannot vote for this bill, but I will give it 1 week's pay. And if every member of this Congress will do the same, it will amount to more than this bill asks. There was silence on the floor of the House as Crockett took his seat. When the bill was put to a vote, instead of passing unanimously as it had been inspected, it received only a few votes. The next day, a friend and had stopped quote on Davy Crockett back there at giving a week's pay if everyone else would pay more than the bill asked. Okay, the next day a friend approached Crockett and asked why he had spoken against the bill for such a worthy cause. In reply, Davy Crockett related the following story. And again, this is a story that's accredited to him by his personal secretary or diaries or something. You can find it online, Not Yours to Give. Just a few years before, Davy Crockett answering the question, why he voted against such a worthy cause, and why I would say that nobody has the right to ask for or take our money for that storm. The federal government has no right. Everybody has the right to take money or their own personal time and help, and I would suggest you do. But they cannot steal from us. Anyway, his answer was just a few years before, he had voted to spend $20,000 of public money to help the victims of a terrible fire in Georgetown. When the legislative session was over, Crockett made a trip back home to do some campaigning for his re-election. In his travels, he encountered one of his constituents, a man by the name of Horatio Bounce. Mr. Bounce bluntly informed Mr. Crockett, I voted for you the last time, I shall not vote for you again. Crockett, feeling he had served his constituent well, was stunned. He inquired as to what he had done as to so offend Mr. Bunce, I'm sorry. Bunce replied, you gave a vote last winter which shows that you either have no capacity to understand the Constitution or that you are wanting in the honesty and firmness to be guided by it. The Constitution, to be worth anything, must be held sacred and rigidly observed in all its provisions. I take the papers from Washington and read very carefully all the proceedings of Congress. My papers say that last winter you voted for a bill to appropriate $20,000 to some sufferers by fire. Well, Colonel, where do you find in the Constitution any authority to give away public money and charity? No, Colonel, Congress has no right to give charity. Individual members may give as per much of their own money as they please, but they have no right to touch a dollar of the public money for that purpose. The people have delegated to Congress by the Constitution the power to do certain things. To do these, it authorized to collect and pay monies, and for nothing else. Everything beyond this is usurpation and a violation of the Constitution. You have violated the Constitution in what I consider to be a vital point. It is unprecedented, fraught with danger to the country. For when Congress once begins to stretch its power beyond the limits of the Constitution, someday I'll do a Commerce Clause video. That was me, sorry. There is no limit to it and no security for the people. Feel like you're being pleased? That again, sorry, that was me ad-libbing. Back to the thing. Davy Crockett. I could not answer him, said Crockett. I was so fully convinced that he was right. I said to him, well, my friend, you hit the nail upon the head when you said I had not sense enough to understand the Constitution. If you will forgive me and vote for me again, if I ever vote for another unconstitutional law, I wish I may be shot. Davy Crockett was killed at the Alamo. I don't believe it's because he voted wrongly again, but I haven't looked up his voting record either. Okay, after finishing the story, Crockett said, now, sir, you know why I made that speech yesterday. There is one thing now which I will call to your attention. You remember that I proposed to give a week's pay? There are in the House many very wealthy men who think nothing of spending a week's pay or a dozen of them for a dinner or a wine party when they have something to accomplish by it. Some of these same men made beautiful speeches upon the debt of gratitude to which the country owed the deceased. Yet not one of them responded to my proposition. Money with them is nothing but trash when it comes out of the people, but it is the one great thing for which most of them are striving. And many of them sacrifice honor, integrity, and justice to obtain it. And that looks like it's the end. At least the end of the copy I got. So, this, I got a copy from the local constitutional party. You can get them online. I'm sure I got the PDF somewhere. I probably got it in one of my books over there too. But anyway, I wanted to do that. I thought today would be a good day. We got Storm Harvey hit. We got another one coming in behind it, another one, and another one, and we're being flooded again. That may be some significance to that. Man-made, not man-made, it doesn't matter. God could use evil for good or good for evil. Yeah, Davy Crockett, look it up. Not yours to give. And not yours to give, that's what it was, I think, yeah. So, do that. Do your not yours to give. Yeah, DuckDuckGo, they don't follow you as much. And you'll find it. There's lots of it. The Foundations of Liberty has it. Here's another copy. Library of Congress, all the Davy Crockett sites, a bunch of Southern sites. So, all kinds of them. See, not yours to give, Foundations of Liberty, a teacher's guide. So, looks like a PDF of some sort. I don't know what it is. Maybe just the front screen. Who can say? So, I wanted to see if it would show who the guy was that they said did this. Maybe it says it on the back here. I just don't wanted to tell you who. I guess I can Google it quick. Or DuckDuckGo it real quick. Hush money, free org resources. Let's see. This is off of free.org resources up here, not yours to give -2. Let's see. I just wanted to get you the. Anyway, then it goes on. The story goes on. I just had the trifold out. I was reading. The story goes on. He gets, tells them to have a big barbecue, and he convinces everyone to vote for him. Tells them that he was sorry he voted, but I think it's very apropos for the storm right now. The charities are not good. I think everybody knows there are even videos out saying don't give to the Red Cross and whatnot. I think the charities need to come from the churches and the respectable charities. I think people ought to be allowed to get in their van or church or their trucks and take water or food down to them people and give it out, but you'll be stopped just like they were at Katrina. They want the government to take over. What did they say back in 18? What was this? 1800, early 1800, 1800. Congress was considering the bill. So look where we are 217 years later. They started with, 20 grand for a fire in Georgetown. Now they want everybody in all the other states to pay for what happens in the other states. And I know I feel for them, and I would help them. Do you know if the federal government wasn't taxing us at 70% when at the end of the day from your taxes they steal out of your incomes, whatever their sources are, the many ways they tax and steal from you. And if they didn't, how much money individuals could give to churches, charities to help these people. And you know what? Who would do a better job? Who would do a better job, the government or individuals? How'd that work out for Katrina in that dome? Anyway, I wanted to find out who they said this was. They're not going to tell me. Looks like my cat just came in. Okay, the following is a story about Davy Crockett. It was published in 1867 by Harper's Magazine. It was written by James Bethune, a pseudonym used by Edward Ellis. The events that are recounted here are true, including Crockett's opposition to a bill in question, though the precise rendering and some of the details are fictional. So, I have a copy somewhere, so it must be in my bookcase anyway, and it tells you where they get it from. It's like the diary of his servant, of his butler or whatever. So, and then Harper's Magazine must have printed the diary of the other guy, of Crockett's butler or whatever. Because Crockett didn't write this down. He died at the Battle of the OK Corral. And then General Lee went on to lead the American troops against the Mexicans in the Mexican-American War. But we're tearing down his statue because he wasn't American enough. He led the American forces, a war hero, whatever. So that's a whole other victim and topic. So I got a minute and a half left. Hopefully I'll say I don't monetize my stuff. I'm not asking for anything. It's, just education, educate other people. I'm not an uncaring person. I just don't think that the federal government has any constitutional authority or right to take any money from any of us to help the people of Texas. Texas should also not be taxed at the rate they are and be allowed to, have a. Why is the Corps of Engineers the one building the walls for all these places? The U.S. Corps of Engineers. It's just too much federal regulation and infiltration in the states. And guess who's paying for it? All of us are, eventually. What do you think when an earthquake happens out west, a bigger one? Because they ain't building them buildings the way they should be and upgrading them. And then the Midwest gets its flood or dry. It's all bullshit. You can always come up with the good reason of who you got to feed or who's in danger. Good reason to fleece the people. You need to be prepared yourselves. Anyway, God bless. Hope this don't anger anyone, but don't help people other than helping them. Don't give to the government to help them. Bitch about it. Make them stop it. Tell your congressman to stop it. They don't have the authority. I don't know. Bye. Have a good day. I'm not angry. I'm really not. I'm in a really good mood. So I just We're all being fleeced in the name of charity. Let us all make our own decisions. We do better.